Hey, I'm Hunt, and this is Hunt on LSU, your channel for LSU Fighting Tiger football talk. Enjoy the video. We want you to leave a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe right below the video. Enjoy. There's Texas A&M. And that was basically it. I mean, you weren't keyed up for Mississippi State. You weren't keyed up for Ole Miss. You got South Carolina. That's fine, whatever. Kentucky. But that's basically the way we've looked at LSU's schedule. And it goes the same for everybody. You kind of look at the big games on your schedule. Well, this adds at least one to your schedule. And it's not like a team that is maybe good this year, maybe good. It's one of the most iconic name brands in the sport. And again, I know that this is not some sort of breaking news or hot take or well-researched opinion. It was just my biggest takeaway when I start to look at Tennessee's schedule or Florida's schedule or Texas's schedule, and I start to look at it and go, man, this really does add some pop. And again, you know my stance on this. I was vehemently against that as of 3 years ago, as of certainly 10 years ago. But now with the expanded playoff, it's like, man, this is pretty cool. And the second thing that I took away was the SEC did a really good job with this. I know it's 1 year. And we've got work to do moving forward to figure some things out. But I don't look at anybody's schedule and think, man, that's a picnic. You can't. There are too many name brand programs. You can't miss Texas and Oklahoma and LSU and Auburn and Alabama and Georgia and Florida and Tennessee. Like, you can't miss that. You're going to catch 4 of those. You might catch 5 of those. There's no way to just catch the perennial bottom feeders. You're going to have marquee games routinely on your schedule because you've done away with divisions and you're not locked into anybody, and there's just too many name brand programs now for you to avoid it. And they did a really good job of putting it together. I will tell you this. I started to look at the individual schools' schedules, and every team that you would associate with that schedule is on there. I'll just go down the list here. Bama, they play LSU. They play Tennessee. They play Auburn. Arkansas, they play LSU. They play Texas, which is a traditional rivalry. I think people my age are unaware of the heated rivalry between Arkansas and Texas that was in the Southwest Conference because it didn't exist for our entire lives. But it's there, and they still, if you go to Hogville, it's free. It's the Tiger Droppings of Arkansas. They hate Texas. Arkansas plays Texas. They also play A&M. They also play Missouri. That's who I would associate with Arkansas. Auburn plays Alabama. They play Georgia. Florida, they play Georgia. They play Tennessee. They play LSU. Georgia, they've got Auburn. They've got Florida. They've got Tennessee. Kentucky, they've got Tennessee. Look at LSU. They got Florida. They got A&M. They got Bama. They got Ole Miss. I mean, every single team. You can go down the list. I'll just grab one. Tennessee. They play Georgia. They play Vanderbilt. They play Alabama. They play Florida. There are only 2 games. Really only one. I'll put a caveat. There's really only one game missing from the SEC schedule that has historical context, historical significance, and would be considered a rivalry. There's one game they did not get, and that's LSU-Auburn. The only 2 cross-division permanents that they didn't put on the schedule were Mississippi State, Kentucky, and Ole Miss, Vanderbilt, which no one cares about. They were forced in there because of what we did in 92. They even put A&M, South Carolina on the damn thing. The only game they did not put on the schedule was LSU and Auburn. And I'm fine with that. We'll play them next year. Like, I'm not married to it. I don't have to have it. There's honestly, and I've done this 2 days in a row now, so I don't have to do it again. There's not one game on the schedule for LSU that I have to have every year. For you, it may be Alabama. For Hester, it may be Florida. For Moscona, it may be Auburn. For someone in my parents' generation or even a little older than that, maybe it's Ole Miss. But there's not one for me that I just have to have. If you're going to take Auburn off my schedule and tell Oklahoma to come to Death Valley, I'm not going to throw my hands up and say, well, what about the earthquake game? What about Flynn to Bird? How about the leverage call? The cigar game? What do we do? I don't feel that way. Oklahoma coming to Death Valley, that's fine. You make me skip Alabama, I promise I won't cry. You're going to send me Florida or Georgia anyway. So I thought they did a really good job in terms of balance and in terms of preserving rivalries. I thought it looked really, really good. Now, from LSU's perspective, I think your draw is pretty good. I mean, your toughest road game's probably Texas A&M. Theoretically, the Swamp would be more difficult, but I don't know what they are. And in this day and age in college football, it's just very difficult to forecast 2 years from now. Some guy might light it up at quarterback for Arizona next year and be Florida's quarterback in 2 years. Like, how do I know? I feel comfortable saying it's not going to look like Spurrier and Myers' heyday in 2 years when we go to the Swamp. Napier could do that, sure. They may win the national championship in 2 years. I'd bet against it. And you got Alabama coming to you. You've got Oklahoma coming to you, who, by the way, stunk last year. In my mind, maybe because I'm removed from football season a little bit, I feel like Oklahoma is the Lincoln Riley Heisman teams. It's not. It's a Brent Venables team that stunk last year. And you got them coming to you. You do get Vanderbilt, which I talked about yesterday. I would prefer at Vanderbilt. I love at Vanderbilt. Two greatest words in an SEC schedule reveal, at Vanderbilt. You're getting Vanderbilt coming to you, but you got Ole Miss as well. You got a road game at Arkansas. Are you terrified of that? I just mentioned Florida. South Carolina will be post Spencer Rattler. Who knows? They're generally not very good. Maybe Shane Beamer is the next Spurrier. The odds are he's probably like everybody else they've ever had outside of Spurrier and not very good. And then you got A&M. The question is, and this is one that we don't have an answer to, but I thought of it when I saw the schedule. I think A&M and Texas will play that last weekend, right? That was LSU's season ender is A&M. You figure Texas would take that spot. So is Oklahoma now going to be the last game of the year? They going to put Ole Miss as the last game of the year? Or I think Arkansas is probably going to play Missouri continually. That's on their schedule. Is that the final game of the regular season going to be, instead of A&M coming out of that tunnel or Arkansas coming out of that tunnel, the way it's been for a long time? Is that going to be Oklahoma at Thanksgiving weekend? Because I don't know when they're going to play Bedlam, if they're going to play Bedlam. And Texas is in the Cotton Bowl early. So maybe that's the game. I'm not insinuating that that's a permanent thing, but I think it's reasonable to think that may be the case. And heck, maybe they put, South Carolina at the end. Who knows? They're supposed to play Clemson, but it feels like Oklahoma could be a fit there. A lot of people saying Alabama caught a bit of a short straw here. They do have 3 theoretically difficult road games. They got to go to LSU. They've got to go to Oklahoma. They've got to go to Tennessee. And they draw Georgia coming to them. But they did get Vanderbilt and Missouri as well. So again, every time I feel like I was looking at a team's schedule and I saw something that looked very favorable or looked very difficult, the opposite can be talked into over 8 games. And people are saying that Arkansas caught a really good break because their road games are Auburn, who's in a coaching change, Mississippi State, Missouri, and A&M. And their home games, and the A&M game is neutral, and that's an away game. And then LSU, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Texas coming to them. But still, you got LSU, Tennessee, and Texas coming to you. That's not a picnic for Arkansas. So trust me, I'm fully prepared to come on here when something pops up scheduling-wise and go, well, this is a screw job. This is a disaster. I can muster that up. I don't see it here. I see a lot of excellent opportunities to watch football. I mean, you can point to any team on the list and grab of the marquee teams. I'm not going to pull Mississippi State's schedule and have a field day with it. I don't care. They're going 7-5, whatever. But I mean, Oklahoma's coming into the league. They're making trips to Auburn, LSU, and the Grove, coming to Oklahoma, Alabama, Tennessee. That's salty. You pull A&M schedule. They're going to Auburn. They're going to Florida. Coming to them, LSU and Texas. So I think it was a good reveal. I think it was equitable. I think it's interesting. I think that this league got better. No matter what you feel about X rivalry or Y rivalry, it's more interesting. And I'm okay with that now that losses aren't grossly penalized. Let's go play some football. You lose 2 games. I mean, LSU's schedule next year is going to feature UCLA, USC, Oklahoma, Alabama, Texas A&M, Florida. I mean, that's – if y'all have been talking about wanting your season tickets money's worth, how does Oklahoma, Alabama, and UCLA sound? That sounds like money's worth. I don't know what you specifically paid for yours, but it sounds pretty good. And I think if you lose 2 games with that schedule, you're in just fine shape to make the playoffs. We'll see what they do moving forward. They got work to do with ironing out a permanent schedule that they want to have 9 games, but this is a good start, and I thought an interesting exercise from last night. So SEC schedules are in place. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.